Man, this is going to be a good video today. Actually, I think my kids might call this a banger.
Is it a banger?
You're going to want to watch this one all the way through. See, on our Living in Winston-Salem community page on Instagram, we have over 10,000 followers, and well over 90% of them are current residents of Winston-Salem and the surrounding area. So we asked them, what is some advice you would give to people thinking about moving to Winston-Salem? And the responses were great. Some of them were maybe expected, but definitely some of them were not to be expected. And we're going to go over those in this video. I'm Jeff Valentino. My real job is helping people buy and sell real estate. Down below, you have all my contact information. There's a link to a relocation guide where you don't even need your email address. There's also a link to my Google reviews. If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the area, please reach out. So the first bit of advice for people thinking about moving to Winston-Salem that the locals gave, and this one came up multiple times, and I've heard this multiple times before, is to get on daycare lists earlier than you think you need to. Since I've moved here, there's been a big demand on daycare providers in the Winston-Salem area and the suburbs, and most of them run lists. So when a spot comes open, they go to the next person on the list, so on and so forth. But the big piece of advice here is to get on those lists earlier than you think. So if you're thinking about moving, when you're about to finalize that move, or you know you're going to be here in, whatever month, really start to make those calls and get on those lists ahead of time. So that way, when you get here, there's a spot available for you, especially if you're going to need daycare right away. Next piece of advice, if you're thinking about moving to Winston-Salem that the locals gave, is don't expect a huge downtown, and I'm excited about this one. And while downtown has grown a lot in the last 10 years, it's true, it's not huge, and it is a little bit disjointed. There are definitely some more things and amenities that it could use, but good news, the city of Winston-Salem just about a month ago just approved a brand new plan for downtown development over the next decade. And while I really want to be impartial on these videos, I am excited about this, so I'm going to put on my unofficial mayor of Winston-Salem hat for this one. That's really exciting because coming from a place where there was a lot of talk of we're going to do this and we're going to do this, and it just kind of never happened. In the 5 years that I've been here and the 2 years before that of visiting here, I've seen changes, and I really know that Winston-Salem, like I said, has a knack for getting things done. So let's talk about a little bit about that plan that they approved. The plan focused on three main areas: growth, connectivity, and appearance. And I'm going to link down below the PDF to the full plan that the city approved, but we're going to just go talk about some of the highlights real quick. First thing is they want to increase walkability with more walkways, strollways, and greenways throughout the downtown area. There are plans for a 5,000 person capacity outdoor amphitheater. There are plans through the art district and throughout downtown for more public art. That's in the form of murals, sculptures, all different types of public art pieces, which the city is really, really good at. They want to build a nationally recognized downtown park. So not only just a park, a playground, other multi-use like BMX, parkour, different things like that, all in downtown. They announced a pop-up program for local vendors to help people, small businesses, kind of get off the ground with minimal startup costs. They also plan to bring a grocery store downtown, which is definitely needed, but also they want to have more regular farmers markets in the downtown area, which is a definite need. Right now, there's really just one main one downtown. It's the Cobblestone Market, and it's definitely a good one, but there's definitely a need for more of those in the downtown area. There's a reuse and redevelopment program for empty office space downtown and the old courthouse, which is definitely needed. They're going to improve parking. They're going to add a dog park downtown. There's going to be additional green space with the Innovation Corridor Phase 2 starting and then a Phase 3 being planned. It's going to have a focus on multi-use real estate for both commercial, residential, and dining. They want to do all of this while maintaining and integrating the city's historic architecture with all the new developments that are coming along. So in the last decade, there's been about $1 billion in redevelopment that's gone on downtown. People that have lived here a long time say you can't even recognize it. There's currently another $1 billion planned over the next decade. This integrates well with the city's 10-year plan to really further redevelop the downtown area. So while it's true, downtown is not huge now, it is improving, and really over the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's just really going to be fantastic. Next piece of advice that the locals gave is to engage in local events. It can be hard to meet new people and to make new friends, especially if you're moving here from somewhere else. So engaging in local events is a great way to do that, to really start to feel like part of the community, to establish roots and really find your people as well. And for a city its size, Winston-Salem has a ton of events going on all the time. So no matter the time of year, there's always something going on if you want to get out and about and explore local events. If you're a mom, there are plenty of mom groups throughout the city that get together on a regular basis. There are a lot of DIY classes and maker groups if you're into the arts or crafts or building. Plenty of opportunities for you to volunteer. There's food truck festivals a couple times a year. Pickleball leagues and groups to trivia at different breweries and restaurants around town. I mean, just on and on. There are always things to do in Winston-Salem. There are a couple great resources to look at, events going on. And if you do that, I think you're going to be surprised at just how much the city has to offer in different types of events to explore. This next one I was happy to hear from a few different people is don't take Winston-Salem for granted. And this is an interesting one because, you know, when you're from a place and you've been here the whole time, maybe you can just kind of start, oh, it's just kind of is what it is, or it's growing too fast, or it's not has enough of this and things like that. But more than one person told us, don't take Winston-Salem for granted. Not only is it in a great location, you know, mountains or the beach are just an easy day trip away. In the wintertime, if you want snow, you drive a couple hours away and you're in Virginia with tubing, skiing, sledding, and things like that in the winter. I mean, just its location is great. But also the city itself, you know, it has a rich history from becoming an old tobacco town to that industry went, and the city went through some tough times to reinventing itself. You have history like Old Salem, the Reynolds family, all those different pieces of a really 200 plus year old city combined with innovation and looking towards the future. There's a rich art scene here with lots and lots of galleries, public displays of art, tremendous outdoor activities, fantastic, very nice people, and just the overall quality of life that comes up time and time again when I talk to people about living here really does make Winston-Salem a gem in the Southeast. Next piece of advice that the locals gave was to get out and explore. Again, this is really important if you're coming here from somewhere else. Winston-Salem has so many hidden gems, and it's just kind of like the city itself. It kind of flies under the radar a little bit, but so does a lot of things that the city has to offer. They have the things that's, you know, very obvious and out front, like we just mentioned. There are a lot of great outdoor activities, walking trails, biking trails, Salem Lake, all those things that are pretty obvious if you just get out there and you kind of know about those. But the more you explore about the city, the more you'll find that it just really does have so much more to offer. For me, when I came here, it was exploring wineries and vineyards and places to go out and hike. For you, it might be something different, but the point of this is just to really get out there and whatever you're kind of into, just be curious, look around, do some digging. And locals here think that you're going to be surprised at just how much the city has to offer, just like I was, even after living here for 5 years. Next piece of advice that locals gave was to take neighborhood suggestions with a grain of salt. Now, as a real estate agent, this one was easy for me because I do this every day. But if you're thinking about moving to the area, you probably hear of a certain few really popular neighborhoods, and they're great. You know, Buena Vista, Ardmore, Sherwood Forest, all nice neighborhoods, but don't necessarily pigeonhole yourself to those unless you're absolutely sure that that's where you want to be. Now, if school is a consideration or something like that, that might be another story. But there are other neighborhoods in Winston-Salem that are going to have very similar feels to some of these other more popular neighborhoods. There are going to be other parts of the city that, you know, maybe a little bit further south or west or east that are just going to be totally different, that might be acceptable to you as well. People here tend to have really strong opinions on their neighborhoods, but really there are more than one neighborhood for the vast majority of people where you would be comfortable living. If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in Winston-Salem or the surrounding area, I'd love to be a resource for you. You can reach out to me directly at jeff@govalentino.com. Thanks.